Once again, I welcome you back to my channel. In the previous videos, we learned how to install Portainer on Ubuntu machine. And then we also learned how to use Portainer to deploy container instances. And in those videos, we spin up Nginx, which is one of a web server or a proxy server, as the case may be. We also spin up another one called the Santa container. We also learn how we can access the container directly from the published port. If you look right here, we have what we call published port. You know, previously what we did was to copy the IP address of the host, which is the Ubuntu EC2 machine, take it to the browser and along with the port. But in the video, we were able to configure the Portainer console so that we can directly access the container from the server. And what I mean is, instead of copying the IP address to the browser, you can just head up to your published port. And for instance, if I want to access the Nginx web server, I can just click here, and then it's going to take me directly to the Nginx landing page. Also, if I want to access my Santa container, I can just come here and click directly on the port, and it's going to take me to the Santa web page. Now, in this video, we are going to look at how we can explore the Portainer capabilities. What can you do with Portainer when in managing your containers? How can you interact with your containers? What can you do with your container using Portainer? So I'm going to be clicking on the Nginx web server, which is the one here, right down here. And you can see from the console, you can stop your container, you can kill it entirely. That is, if you stop it, that means you can start it up again. But if you kill it, you are completely taking it off, and you will not be able to start it. Then you can restart the container, you can pause it, you can remove it entirely from the console. Now, but more interestingly is, if you go down here, instead of using the CLI, instead of going to the command prompt, assuming that you are running this Portainer. For example, let's assume if I go to my Portainer now, I can decide to, let's say, let me clear the screen, and let me do Docker PS. Docker PS will give me all the container that is running. Let's assume that I want to interact with my Nginx container. What I will do is I will get the ID of the Nginx Portainer, and I'm going to let me clear the bracket. I'm going to exec into the container by using the command exec, by using the command docker exec -it, and I'm going to put the container ID, and I'm going to put through what terminal do I want to use, if it's bash or shell. So I need to add it /bash. Now click enter, and you can see now I'm in the container, and I can check all the file in the container Now, but instead of doing all this, Portainer will help you, or will afford you the capability to interact with your container without going into command interface. And so if I go back here now, if you go straight down here, you are going to see logs. You can interact with your computer. You can see the logs. So I'm going to click on logs. And here it's going to show me all the logs that are currently running in my container. I can auto refresh it. I can check what is going on. I can click on number line where I can see all the container or all what is currently happening on my container. If I want it to come with time, I will click on timestamp. It's going to show all the time that is happening on the container. So if I go back to my web server, I can also inspect. So instead of go into the file, maybe the YAML file or the configuration file of your container, you can inspect it right here by just clicking on the inspect tab. If I want it to come in the text, I can click on text and I can see the configuration file for my container. Also, I can see the statistics. So instead of configuring a monitoring platform, instead of setting up a different monitoring tool like Prometheus and Grafana to manage the logs of your container, through the stats, you can click on stats and it's going to give you whatever that is going on in your container. So let me change the rate to, let's say, every seconds. And you can see now, I can see the memory usage, I can see the CPU usage, I can see the network, the input, output usage, and I can see a whole lot. Now, if you are using a command line interface, you're going to need another tool, probably a monitoring tool or a visualization kind of, for you to see all this. But with the help of your Portainer, you can see all this without configuring a different tool. So I'm going to go back, and also we have another tab here called the console. The console enable you to what? Interact with your container through the command line. So from here now, this is telling me that my Portainer will be using a bash. If you want it to use shell, you can change it to shell, but I want it to use bash, so I'm going to continue with bash. And in this case, I'm going to be logging in with what? With the root user. So if I click on connect, it's going to take me directly into the term. Of course, if you go back to what I have here, you can see it is the same terminal. Root into what? 4CF. That is the container ID. And the same thing is what I have here. So instead of using the command line to go to interact with your container, your Portainer will enable you to do that. And if I do ls, I can see all the ports. All the files that are available in my container. I can decide to see what is contained inside one of the files. So let me cut the file docker.sh, and so it's going to give me whatever that is there. So you can see right here, these are the content of that file. I can go ahead, I'm going to clear the screen. Clear the screen. And so if I do ls again, I want to know what type of Ubuntu machine, what type of Linux machine is this terminal, what is this OS, and I can do I think cat /etc/OS release, and this will give me what type of OS I'm using, and this is telling me it's a Debian Linux 12 machine. So this will enable me to know the type of command I can run on this machine. So I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to clear the screen, and let's say I want to make changes to the file. Let's say I want to make changes to the configuration. So let me try vi docker.sh. Okay, say vi command is not found. Let me see if nano will work, because I want to use an editor to go into that. So I'll do nano docker.sh. It says that is not found too. So that means no editor is currently running on this on this container, but I can install them. So I'll clear the screen. Let me try to install Nano. First, I will what? I will update my machine. I'll do apt-get update. So I'm updating the container, and now I'm going to go ahead and install. I'll go ahead and install Nano. Apt-get install Nano. Don't forget I'm already the root user, so I don't need to use sudo again. So Nano is installed now. It's asking for yes. I will say yes. So this is what install. So Nano is installed. I'll clear the screen. Now I can use Nano, and I can do Docker sh, Docker entry point.sh. I can see now I'm able to log into the file, and I can make any changes that I want to make, and then go back again. So easily I can interact from my Portainer. I can interact with my container using the shell. So I'm going to go out of here, and then I'm going to go back. As you also know that currently we are logging as the root user, which is the default user. You can see from here that we are logging with the root user. And of course, you agree with me that that is not a best practice. It's not advisable that you interact with your container as a root user, because that could pose a lot of risk. So we can decide to create a user where we can log in and give that user certain level of privileges. Okay, I'm just going to create a user here and see how we can log in as that user. So I'm going to do user add. I'm going to say Felix. Okay, and I'm going to click enter. So we have user now. Okay, we have user. We have the user created. So I can switch to that user. From here, I can switch to Felix if I like, and you can see now that I'm now in Felix. I'm not logging in as Felix user. But however, you can do that also through the same through the Portainer configuration. So let me exit from here. I will exit. I'm back to the root. I'm going to disconnect, and I want to log in as Felix as a user. Now, don't forget here, look at the user. So instead of root, I'm going to type Felix, and I'm going to click on connect. And you can see now it says access container, exec into container as Felix. So you can see now that I'm now logging in as Felix on this container, and I can begin to work. And in that case, if I need elevated privileges, then I can use sudo and so on, instead of working as a root user, which I said poses a lot of risk. So there are a lot of stuff you can do with your Portainer when interacting with your container. So also, if I return back now, I can also use attach. Attach is an interactive capabilities that's similar to console, but it allows you to interact with your container in real time. But you will need to set a particular configuration for you to be able to use it. For example, now if I just click on attach, if you look at it, it says the interactive flag is not set. Because when I was spinning up this container, I did not set up the interactive flag. So in that case, I will not be able to use these capabilities. But let us see what we can do. For us to be able to enable this, I will click on detach now. I will go back to my container. I'm going to stop the container so that I can make the changes. I'll stop container. Then you will click on this tab that says duplicate and edit. If you click on it, then you can go straight down to advanced settings, advanced container settings. Then under the command line, I'm logging. You can see console here. I'm going to select interactive and TTY. And I'm going to go back and deploy the container. So it's asking me if I want to replace it. Why? Because the name web server is already existing. So it's asking if I want to replace it, and I will say yes. I will replace it. Now the container is up and running again. I will click on it, and this time I will click on attach. And you can see now the attach is active, and I can interact with my container in real time to see what is going on there. So I'll just click on detach and go back to my container. So now this is what you can do, or this is how you can interact with your container. Also, there are some settings that you can make on your Portainer. If you go to the admin section and you click on my account, you can change the the user theme if you want it to look like. I like a dark mode, so I'm going to go to. You can change it to dark mode, or you can change it to high contrast, which I'll be using. So I'll be using high contrast going forward, and then you can also change so many other things. You can change the password if you want. I can put the old password, put the new one, and update it. And you can also do so many other settings. You can just go around and try to use it. Look at Git credential. You can connect your Git credentials, and then if you want to use M, we can also talk about images. So these are all images that we have pulled so far. There it's going to show you those that are in use, those that are not in use. If you like, you can decide to remove them. Like all these ones that are not in use, I can go ahead and take them off. In a single swap, I can click on remove, and it's going to remove all of those containers that are not in use. As you can see, they're all gone. This you can also see networks. These are networks that are connected to your running container. We have the volume. If you don't forget, we created this volume when we just started, and this is one of what I have played around with. We can also take them off as well, as long as they are not in use, so as to manage the resource on your container. We also have the event. This will keep record of all the activities that you have been doing. You can see it shows me when I log into that exec into that container. It shows the progress and so on. It also shows that your computer is, your Portainer is running. Also, we have the host. Of course, we are going to talk about in the next video. We are going to talk about registry, how we can add registry. Don't forget so far we have been pulling our images from public Docker registry. We are going to see how we can pull from some other registry. I think that is all we have now. Okay, we have license here. So this is telling me that I have the take three license, and I'm using I have 3 node free. So this shows what I have in my subscription, and of course these are the logs of what is going on, the activities, all I have been doing. You can remember I deleted some stuff now, so it's showing me that I've deleted those stuff. So we are going to be looking at a lot of stuff in our future videos. So this is just all I intend to show you in this video. You can play around with a lot of stuff, click everywhere, know what is going on. This is the container that are running. You can see that. You can see the volume. You have the network, the images, and then we are going to be talking about template applications. We are going to be talking about Stack in our coming videos. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.